Hello everyone. Very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Neelam Malkani. I'm going to be your facilitator for CAT. In today's session, I'm going to cover SNAP 2020. As you all know, the exam has changed, or the pattern of exam has changed this year. So I'm going to talk about the changes which have taken place this year and some tips to deal with the verbal ability section of this exam. But before that, let me give you a brief introduction about myself. I possess around 12 years of experience of test preparation industry in which I have trained the aspirants of CAT, GRE and GMAT. I also had the opportunity of setting and designing the assessment papers of English and reasoning for various exams. I did this for professional bodies as well as for examining bodies. My expertise lies in two sections, English and verbal reasoning. I also served as an examiner of an international exam where I tested the proficiency of aspirants who were going for this international exam. Very recently, I have authored a comprehensive book of English on the basis of the syllabus of competitive exams. So that's about myself. This video is brought to you by India's largest learning platform, Unacademy. So let me take you to its platform and tell you how you can be part of this learning revolution. You have to go in the Play Store and download Unacademy Learning app. You will be shown two variants of this app. You have to download the Learning app. Once you download the Learning app, you will be shown all the categories which are offered by this Learning app, plus free courses and special classes. If you want to attend classes for CAT, you have to go in Plus category. Once you select that, you will be shown all the products which are offered by Plus category. One of them is CAT. When you choose this category, you will be shown all the features of this product. That includes 30 plus hours of sessions every day. These sessions are offered by 40 plus top educators who have extensive experience of guiding and mentoring students in their respective field. The sessions are well structured, well organized and well designed by these faculty members only. They deliver their courses. And the new courses are launched every month. Then you can choose to subscribe to CAT course. If you want to avail further discount of 10%, you have to type the code Neelam. When you go in the subscription mode, you will see that all the models of subscription are there. So you can choose the subscription that suits your needs and requirement the best. You can choose it for a month, you can choose it for 3 months, and you can choose it for yearly or 2-yearly courses, right? So what are you waiting for? If you want me to help you with your preparation this year, go and join us. Now let's begin our today's agenda, that is the orientation of SNAP 2020. So, like other exams which have brought a lot of changes in their pattern and their structure, SNAP has also followed the drill. So, it has reduced the duration of exam from 2 hours to 1 hour. So, this is going to be the shortest duration of exam among all the spectrum of management entrance exams. It is going to last only for an hour. 60 minutes is the time that SNAP has decided to take to offer the exam. There are going to be 3 sections in this exam. The verbal ability or English section is going to be all inclusive. Everything which has been part and parcel of English in competitive exam is going to be there in SNAP. That is how in their official notification, SNAP has given 4 parts or 4 subsections of English section. General English, reading comprehension, verbal reasoning and verbal ability. So all these 4 subsections are going to be part of your exam or are going to be part of English section. Whereas the number of questions has drastically been reduced to 50. The weightage is reduced from earlier years. SNAP used to give a lot of weightage to English, but this year only 50 questions are going to be from this section. And the total marks will be 50. So each question is going to carry 1 mark. Second section, that is analytical reasoning and logical reasoning, will have 25 questions. So over a period of time, it has been observed that SNAP gives inordinate importance to this particular section. It used to have differential marking for this particular section. LR question used to carry higher marks for each question than the other questions of other sections. So this year they have been consistent with that pattern. Instead of giving differential marking, the question is going to carry the same mark, 1 mark for each question, but the number of questions is 25. So if you see, a little less than 50% is the weightage of this particular section, right? 25 questions, total marks 25 minutes. Third section, quantitative aptitude, data interpretation and data sufficiency will be given 20 questions, right, and 20 marks. So this is how the structure goes. 60 questions to be done in 60 minutes and the marks is 60 marks, right? Now let's talk about other dynamics of the test. The duration is 60 minutes, so this is going to be the shortest duration among all the exams. 2 attempts. So this is another leeway that SNAP has offered this year. You can have 2 attempts for this exam. So if you are not satisfied with your preparation, because you have to decide well in advance whether you are going to attempt the exam once or twice, right? Because when you fill the form, you have to tell them that whether you are going to take this exam for once or you are going to repeat your attempt, right? The first attempt or the first exam is going to happen on 20th of December, and 2 will be in January, 6th and 9th of January. If you are not contented with your preparation right after CAT, you will start focusing your attention on SNAP. And if you are not satisfied with your scores, if you are not satisfied with your preparation, you can choose to take it in January. But be mindful of other exams happening in January, right? Because you will have to devote your time for the preparation of other sections which appear in those exams, like TIS, right? So TIS is going to require you to focus attention on GK as well. So if that is also your targeted exam, plan your attempt in a very meticulous way so that there is no conflict in your attempts, right? You will have to pay separate fee for these 2 attempts. So if you are going to take the exam twice, you will have to pay double the fee, right? So first, for 1 attempt, the fee is 750 rupees. You will have to pay it twice if you want to take it twice, right? Your highest score, if you decide to take it twice, the highest score will be considered for shortlisting you for the colleges you have applied to, right? So next is 4 options will be there, so there is a less confusion. The 4 options have been consistent feature of SNAP exam, so they have continued with that. 25% negative marking, so 0.25 marks will be deducted if you attempt a question wrong or if you mark a wrong answer to a given question. You will be given sectional freedom, that means you can choose the section which you are most comfortable with. If you have identified a particular section as your forte, you feel most comfortable with that section, you go on with that and then choose the order of your section, right? So that is another freedom that you are given with this pattern. No sectional cutoff. So this has been another feature which has been the most attractive part of SNAP, that no sectional cutoff is there in SNAP. Though over a period of time it has been seen that some top colleges like SIBM Pune and SCMHRD have started considering sectional cutoff while shortlisting the candidates. If there are 2 candidates who have scored similar scores, same score, they possibly see the section cutoff how much score they have, how much marks they have scored in a particular section that they give preference to, they will choose that candidate, right? So you will have to perform equally well in all the sections, right? If you want to get shortlisted for these top colleges, no differential marking this year. Unlike 2018 and 2019, SNAP, which had differential marking, there were some questions which carried higher marks than other question did. This year they have done away with that and there is no differential marking. All questions are going to carry 1 mark each. So this is all about the structure and the pattern of SNAP this year. Now, a bit about fee, because that is another area where SNAP is, has a kind of dicey position. Like NMAT, which gives you multiple attempts, SNAP has also started from this year. But as I said, you will have to pay separately for each attempt. And unlike NMAT, which gives you the latitude to choose whether you want to take exam again after you receive your score of the first attempt, you have to freeze this decision well in advance, right? So here, other than paying the fee for 2 attempts, you will also have to pay fee for different courses you choose to apply to these colleges. Symbiosis has 16 colleges which offer more than 29 courses, right? The 29 courses in MBA and in MSc. They have very conventional programs as well as very niche programs that they offer. Niche programs such as infrastructure management, hospital management, and computer infrastructure management. So these niche programs, if you are very specific, if you want to go for these programs, you can definitely apply to these colleges because you have to pay the fee of each program that you are going to apply to. I have taken the courses of SIBM Pune and SEMHRD. So SIBM Pune offers 3 courses. SIBM Pune is the flagship institute of Symbiosis University. It offers 3 programs. So if you decide to apply for all these 3 programs of SIBM Pune, you will have to pay separate fee for each of these programs. So please consider the financial implications of taking this exam as well as applying to the different colleges and different programs of these colleges, right? You will also have to see the ROI because Symbiosis colleges are kind of, charging insanely exorbitant fee for their courses, and sometimes ROI is not as viable as the fee is, right? So before choosing the program and before choosing the college, please consider this, talk to the faculty members around you, search on the website, talk to the alumni if you get connected with them, see their placement reports, see the placement reports of these colleges, verify these details because most of the time these details are not verified, these reports are not audited. So please verify these details by other sources and then only make this decision. It would be prudent to do thorough research before choosing the college or choosing the program for Symbiosis. Now, why SNAP? Among plethora of exams, management exams, which are conducted in India for admission into management colleges, why SNAP? Right? So it has been usually taken by those students who find quantitative part very difficult, or who feel that CAD is possibly not worth cracking for them, or is not possibly their cup of tea. So they always shift to an exam like SNAP. But now, because of this change pattern, BI, quantitative aptitude, and DS has been given more weightage, right? So out of 60, 20 questions have been devoted to this particular section. So if that was your skill, this year possibly you will have to revisit your reason to take this exam. Nonetheless, I have compiled some reasons. I have compiled a list of some reasons which make this exam still very attractive. One of them is limited pool of applicants. Last year, the number of takers was 60,000, right? And the university has 16 colleges, right? So the chances of selection is higher because there are limited pool of applicants who are going to apply to top 5, right? So let's say among 60,000 students who are going to apply, who are going to sit for the exam, possibly 50% will be applicable for the top 5 colleges, and the top 5 colleges, top premier courses. So the chances of selection is definitely higher if you sit for this exam and if you prepare well and perform well in the exam. Easy to moderate difficulty level, so it is always perceived as one of those exams which is quite doable even for those candidates who are not from engineering background or who are not very excellent at their academics, right? If they prepare well for 2 to 3 months, if they keep a pace with the preparation, and if they prepare as per the specific pattern of SNAP, they can easily crack this exam. So easy to moderate difficulty level is another feature that makes this exam very attractive. Weightage of verbal is reduced. So I come across a lot of students who believe that they can do quant easily, they can do logical reasoning very easily. These sections do not pose any challenge to them, but it is English which is an anathema for them, and that has always been a section which they find most challenging and difficult. So if that is your case, this year pattern has actually been tailor-made for you only. 15 questions, and possibly among those 15 questions, 4 and 5 are going to be from reading comprehension. 3 or 4 questions are going to be from reading comprehension. So if you manage to do that passage well, you can easily do with that section. You don't have to do other questions. Or if grammar is your forte, grammar has always been a very specific part of SNAP. SNAP kind of has a fixation for grammar. So if you are very good at grammar, do those questions because they are easy to do, because they are less time consuming. You can do those questions and you can clear the section, right? So this exam is for you if English is possibly not your forte. Predictable pattern. It has been seen by all the teachers, faculty members, as well as those people who have been in this industry that this examiner of SNAP is possibly given the previous year papers. And on the basis of those previous year papers only, they set the paper. It has also been seen that they have directly taken questions from standard textbooks. In critical reasoning section, they have taken questions directly from OG. They did not even bother to change the details or the names. If it was, the question was Americanized, they took same context in their question paper. They did not bother to change the details at all. They have taken direct question from Norman Lewis, right? The very standard books which is referred for vocabulary building. They have taken direct questions of vocabulary for Norman Lewis. So the pattern is very predictable. The examiner do not take much pains while designing the paper, especially English section. So you can, and logical reasoning section. So you can predict the pattern by solving 2 to 3 years papers of SNAP. They give you fair idea about what you can anticipate in this year exam. No GK. From last year, they have, in 2018, they did away with GK and no special question. Last year, they introduced special questions on the pattern of CAT, which did not have any option, or they did not have any, the questions did not have any option. That means you had to type in your answer, right? So they introduced this set of question in 2 sections in 2018 and 2019. They have done away with this structure this year. So no special question, which actually creates a lot of ambiguity and it's very time consuming because you have to devise your answer on your own. And so no confusion this year. Shortest duration. So this is another feature that makes me recommend you that you should take this exam, because if a lot of you may have a problem of short attention span, you cannot keep the momentum of your performance for a long duration of time. It is very exerting for you if you have to apply yourself for 2 hours consistently, right? And you cannot pay attention for more than 15 minutes, 20 minutes. If you read a lot of things, you cannot absorb it, you cannot process the information altogether. If that's the problem for you, this exam is tailor-made for you only. 60 minutes. It's not very difficult to keep your pace for 60 minutes, right? And since your stakes are going to be higher, you can definitely apply yourself better for 60 minutes, right? So shortest duration makes this exam all the more desirable. Another thing that you know is the most attractive feature for SNAP is that you don't have to pay for your past sins. So what I mean by saying is that you don't have to pay for your past sin is a lot of colleges do weightage to your 10th marks, 12th marks, your work experience, your graduation, and they do accord some weightage in their final selection. They do give importance to these criteria while giving you final offer for the selection, right? Whereas in SNAP, this is not going to be the case. You will be shortlisted for the second phase strictly on the basis of your SNAP score. If you clear the cutoff, you will be called for the second phase. So second phase is going to be GE, that is group exercise, PI and WAT. WAT is your writing assessment test that has actually been introduced in all the management exams now. So this is going to be your second phase. So in this second phase, you won't be judged on the basis of your work experience, 10th or 12th or graduation marks, right? 10% weightage has been given to GE, your participation, how well you participate, then how well you showcase your attributes which are being tested in GE. PI is given 30% weightage. While making the merit list, 30% importance will be given to PI and 10% to WAT. SNAP score will be given 50% weightage. So your final selection will be based on this merit list, and this merit list does not make any mention of your 10th, 12th, graduation or work experience. Of course, if you have work experience, so the insight that you can offer in your interview or group exercise will definitely give you some advantage. But the selection procedure per se is not going to give you any advantage on the basis of your work experience, right? So you don't have to pay for your past sins. If you did not excel in your studies in 10th, 12th or graduation, you can still make a mark, excel in this exam and finally get the selection in your desired college, right? So I hope I made it very clear that why this exam is supposed to be taken by you, right? So limited pool of applicants, 60,000 last year, it's going to be likely the similar figure this year as well. Easy to moderate level difficulty, weightage of verbal is reduced. So if reasoning is your forte, reasoning, especially with 25 questions still are devoted to reasoning. So if you are very good at reasoning and logic, this is exam that you should not miss. Predictable pattern, if you do previous year papers well, you can easily anticipate what set of question you are going to face this year as well. No GK, no special question, shortest duration, you can focus, you can pay undivided focus on your preparation as well as during your exam as well. And selection only on the basis of SNAP and GE, PI and WAT. Now, a very brief information about your next phase, that is going to be your group exercise, your PI and WAT. So separate colleges are going to conduct different exercise for group exercise, PE and WAT. So if you happen to get shortlisted for multiple programs from multiple colleges, you will have to appear separately for these processes, right? So they are not going to have a unified second phase which is going to make you go for this entire phase at once, but you have to appear separately for each of these colleges and each of these programs as well. Merit list, as I said, will be based on 50% will be given to SNAP score, GE and WAT 10%, and PI will be given 30%. So prepare very well for your personal interview. That is going to be the decisive stage of your selection. Now, as I said at the beginning of this session only, that I'm going to talk about how you can prepare for this specific exam. So once you are done with your CAT in November, right after that, you can start taking mock online of SNAP only. right? So this time you must be devoting your energy on CAT only if that is what is your prime focus. So right after that, you can shift your energy and focus on SNAP. That is time enough for fine-tuning your strategy for SNAP, because 80%, or I would say 90% things that you are preparing for CAT and other management exam are going to be applicable for SNAP as well. 10% parts that you have to incorporate for that, those days are more than sufficient. If you decide to take your exam on 20th of December, then also you have enough time. If you decide to take exam in December first week, then also you have sufficient time to change your strategy and shift your focus on this exam as well. Now let's talk about what you need to do or what you should do to do well in this particular exam. So topics that frequently appeared in SNAP. So download the previous year papers. They are readily available on internet, different websites. The PDF version of these papers are available on internet. Download these papers, especially 4-5 years papers. Previous year papers still will give you some practice, but make base your practice on those papers of 2016, 15, from 15 to 19. So those papers should be the benchmark for you to decide what you can anticipate in SNAP this year. So those topics which have frequently appeared in SNAP. For English section, I can tell you with authority and confidence that grammar is one of the fixations of SNAP. It will definitely test you on grammar. Right? This is one of those exams which are going to test your hardcore grammatical accuracy, right? So those questions which you may not find in any other exam will appear in SNAP, right? So grammar is one of those sections which will be tested in English. You may also see that none of the management exam except Maharashtra CET test your visual reasoning. So SNAP is one of those exams which is going to give you questions on visual reasoning. In past previous year papers, you will see visual reasoning has also appeared in reasoning section. In logical reasoning section, questions based on assumption, strengthening, weakening, strong and weak argument, reason and assertion, those basic questions which appear in bank, clerical exam are also asked in SNAP, right? So these are questions which frequently appear in SNAP. Venn diagram is another pet topic of SNAP. So if you keep a track of these topics, if you try to find a pattern by analyzing the 5 years paper, you will make a list of those topics which they have obsession with, right? And if you do those topics well after your CAT preparation, right? And if you practice these sections well, there are higher chances of you excelling in this exam, right? So try to base your preparation on previous year paper, take a list of those topics which have frequently appeared in SNAP, especially in last 5 years, and then try to get conceptual clarities of those topics, do practice, and then do sectional practice. So do sectional practice and timed practice, because now this exam is for 60 minutes, 60 questions, 1 minute for each question. Some questions are going to be very time consuming, like critical reasoning, reading comprehension, DI, right? And if in logical reasoning section, if you are given paragraph based question, they are going to be time consuming. So you have to base your practice in a very timed manner. You have to do practice in a very timed manner, right? So you also have to develop this ability to choose the right question. By scanning the question, if you feel that it is not going to be doable in next 30 seconds, leave that question. Skip that question then and there. Don't try to wrestle with that question. Because ultimately, there is no differential marking and each question is going to carry each similar weightage. So for doing a particular question, you won't be given higher marking. So choose your question very wisely. Choose those questions only where your getting it accurate is higher and getting it in a lesser time is possible, right? So these two should be your benchmark to choose the question. There are higher chances of getting it accurate and the question is doable in 30 seconds. Don't waste your time in doing those questions. So when you shift from CAT, you have to train your brain to see those questions which can be doable in 30 seconds, right? So you have to develop this ability to choose the right question. That is going to be the differentiator, right? Among those students who can choose the right question in the right set of time, they are definitely going to excel in this exam. Work on your time management. This exam is now nothing but the test of your time management. Because the level of difficulty is now is not really challenging, right? So given 2 hours for 60 questions, anybody can do that paper. Or if somebody is given 3 hours to do that paper, they will definitely do all the questions. And if they have been preparing for aptitude exam, they will definitely do all the questions correct in 3 hours, right? This is the level of difficulty of SNAP. That means they are not testing your knowledge, they are not testing your abilities, but they are just testing that how well you can perform in a stipulated number of time. So 60 minutes, 60 questions. This is just the race of time. So you have to prove your ability to manage time efficiently and effectively, right? So here, this is the ability that you have to start developing once you are done with CAT. Now let's come down to verbal section, English section. So as I said, reading comprehension, they have specifically mentioned that reading comprehension is one of the components of English part. It has been seen that in previous year papers, reading comprehension is not very difficult, right? Unlike CAT, unlike XAT or IFT, the passages are not challenging, the passages are not very long, right? And the passages are going to be based on factual information. So you can afford to read the question first and then attempt the passage, right? With this strategy also you can do snap passages, right? You just read first part of the paragraph, you assimilate the message by reading the first few lines, you try to absorb the message, you can start going through the question, come back to the passage and fetch your answer. Invariably, this strategy will be applicable on snap passages, right? So they are not going to pose a lot of challenge to you, linguistic challenge or cognitive challenge. They will be easy to read, they will be easy to understand. What you have to do is manage your time. The passage may be followed by 3 questions, may be followed by 4 questions. You have 4 minutes time. If the passage is followed by 4 questions, you will have 4 minutes. In that 4 minutes, you have to read the passage, you have to read the question and attempt the right answer. So this is going to be the challenge for you. So if reading is your forte and if your strength lies in reading comprehension, go for it. Definitely go for it. If you are an average reader, I would still suggest you go for reading comprehension of SNAP. It's very easy. The subjects are not very tough. The presentation is very easy to follow. At the same time, the questions are also not very tough. If you find a specific question which tests your ability to ascertain the tone of the author, or let's say if you find out a question which is testing your ability to infer the idea, leave that question, right? If it is time consuming and if you assume that it's going to take a lot of time, don't attempt that specific question. Nonetheless, rest of the 3 questions or 2 questions will be easy to attempt. So do solve the passage if it appears in SNAP, and it's very likely to appear in this year SNAP as well. So the passage of difficulty is going to be easy to moderate. Majority of the question will be based on facts, easy to fetch, easy to mark. The passages in SNAP are not very long. When you see previous year papers, you will see none of those passages exceeded more than 250 or 300 word limit. The passages will be manageable. Next section is verbal ability. Verbal ability will test your understanding of verbal ability based on English, the application of concepts of English. So filling the blanks will be of 2 types. One will be based on vocabulary, second will be based on grammar. So there will be a sentence and one part of the sentence will be missing, you will have to furnish the right part which fits in the sentence, right? So that tests your ability of grammatical accuracy. So as per grammatical principles, you will have to choose the option. So this is again very frequently appeared question in SNAP. Second, fill in the blank, which tests your ability to find out the correct word which contextually is fitting and appropriate in a given sentence. So that is your vocabulary. Synonym and antonym. This is again a very favorite topic of SNAP, and it has given very straightforward question based on synonym and antonym. And this is, for this set of question, they rely heavily on Norman Lewis. They have directly taken questions from that book, right? So if you do that book for vocabulary building, it will have twofold effect. One, you can, be sure that some question will definitely be there, and second, it will also build your vocabulary. So start reading this book, because not only for SNAP, it will also be useful for other exams, right? So proverbs and idioms, this is another area which is favorite of SNAP, idioms and proverbs. In 2018, last year, or 2019 paper, there was a specific proverb, which is not very common proverb, was given in 4 interpretation of those, that proverb was given. Idiomatic expression. In some years, idiomatic expressions, there were 4 questions based on idiomatic expressions alone, right? So this is another area that you have to focus on for SNAP. Sentence correction, as I said, grammar has been a favorite topic of SNAP, so sentence correction. The sentence correction part that is very common to bank and clerical exam or SSC exam, where a sentence is given, 4 parts are segmented, 4 parts of sentences. The sentence is fragmented into 4 parts, and you will have to find out which part contains the error. Or there are 2 parts of the sentence, A, B, C, D, and then you will have to see which sentence is erroneous. So this way they have been testing your grammar. So for this part, as I said, Norman Lewis, I would highly recommend reading Norman Lewis, solving all the exercises which are given in Norman Lewis. You can skip the part which deals with, you can skip that part of the book which deals with doctors and medical terminology. So that entire part is not going to help you much in the preparation of competitive exam or aptitude exam, but rest of the part is really good. And they give ample exercises to apply your knowledge into practice, right? So what you gain out of the chapter has to be applied on the exercises, and there are ample exercises. There are tests as well, and you'll be surprised to know that there are some chapters in Norman Lewis which are dedicated to grammar. In between these chapters, the vocabulary chapter, there are some exercises, short exercises dedicated to grammar, and they do cover those topics which are frequently covered in competitive exams. Right? Though the book was not designed for competitive exam, but it actually caters to all the areas of competitive exam. So do read that book for the preparation of vocabulary as well as for grammar. Proverbs and idioms, there is a list of frequently appeared proverbs and idioms. It's also readily available on internet, and you can do these proverbs and idioms by the list which is well circulated on internet. And you can do exercises, you can refer to some books, standard books, textbooks for the exercises, so that you feel confident that the meaning is correct as well as what you understood is also correct. Same time, increase your exposure of idioms and proverbs. What you can do is, once you are done with CAT, you can start reading 5 idioms every day, and then make a list of those idioms that have appeared in earlier years now. So the 5 idioms that you do every day, along with that list, you will have enough reservoir to deal with this section or this subtopic of SNAP, right? So that's how you can do with proverbs and idioms. And whenever you come across an idiom or proverb, when you read a piece of text, let's say you read an article, or you read a blog, or you read a book, when you come across a specific idiom or proverb, take a note of that then and there, because if you understand that idiom and proverb in the right context, it is going to register on your mind. You are going to understand the meaning in the context itself. And then possibly, if you want, you can take it down on a piece of paper, and once you are done with that reading that article or reading that book, you can go through and then make a sentence just to, to, to fossilize that particular part in your memory, right? So that's how you will have to do some conscious effort to do this, because proverbs and idioms cannot be mastered overnight, right? It's a constant practice, it's a consistent effort which are required to do this specific part. Right, so another area which is one of the sections of SNAP, verbal logic. Now, a very interesting area, because some of the topics of this part will lie in English, whereas some topics will come in logical reasoning part. So this is, kind of division between two sections. So verbal logic is going to appear in English. Verbal logic is also going to appear in logical section, logical and AR section. Now, critical reasoning. If you have been preparing for CAT and other exam, so this must not be an alien section for you. Critical reasoning has been a part and parcel of different management entrance exam. It tests your ability to assess the reasoning or to evaluate the point of view in a paragraph, right? So critical reasoning, paragraph-based reasoning has appeared in logical reasoning section of SNAP, right? As I told you, in previous year, SNAP questions directly from official guide of GMAT have been taken up. So if you do official guide 2020 of GMAT, and if you specifically target critical reasoning only, it may appear to be a daunting task, because you must be focusing all your energy for CAT, but let me tell you how it is going to have multifold effect. One, it is going to help you in your reading comprehension section. Yes, critical reasoning and reading comprehension are interspersed, right? Reading comprehension is nothing but a prolonged version of critical reasoning itself, or critical reasoning is nothing but a minuscule version of reasoning, a minuscule version of reading comprehension, right? In critical reasoning, a paragraph is given, reading comprehension, a passage is given. In reading comprehension, you have to understand what author wants to state in that piece of text. In all the paragraph, what is it that author wants to say? What line of reasoning he has adopted, what way he has adopted, what attitude he carries, what tone he reflects. So all these things are to be ascertained in a reading comprehension. While same thing is to be done in critical reasoning section, right? So in critical reasoning, the main point that author wants to drive home is to be understood loud and clear, right? Same thing, same time, you also have to understand what is the assumption of the author, right? If that assumption is to be strengthened or weakened, how that can be done. Same critical reasoning question also appear in reading comprehension section. So if you do this part of critical reasoning, that is going to have strong bearing on reading comprehension as well. So that's one benefit. Second, your CAT will have paragraph-based reasoning question, verbal logic. Though critical reasoning does not appear in CAT anymore, but the paragraph-based reasoning, in which you have to find the order of the sentence, you have to find the main idea, summary. Same time, you have to arrange 3 sentences in an order which makes a paragraph, and 1 sentence which is odd sentence out. That means that cannot be fit into the paragraph. This is nothing but reasoning, and that is why they come in the section of verbal reasoning. So if you do critical reasoning section of OG, so paragraph reasoning is definitely going to be refined. You will have greater clarity about paragraph-based reasoning questions, right? These questions are developed by those people who have been examining for this exam, for GMAT exam. So their capability is unquestionable. They are tried and tested. They are well researched, and after that only they are incorporated in the exam. So there is no scope of ambiguity. Second, the explanations are detailed and thorough. So they give you explicitly all the details that you require to be sure that this answer is correct and why other options are incorrect, right? This clarity, this understanding is very hard to come by in any other resource. So I would highly advise that be it CAT, XAT or SNAP, you do the critical reasoning section of OG, right? So critical reasoning from OG of GMAT, if you get a hold of the OG of this year, nothing better than that. You can also do 2019, 2018. The PDF version of these official guides are readily available on internet. Analogy questions. Analogy test your verbal ability or verbal logic, because vocabulary is definitely part of analogy questions, but same time you have to find a relationship between these two words. So analogy question deal with a set of words where there is a specific relationship, this relationship which is exhibited that pair of words. Now that on the basis of that relationship only the answer is to be chosen, right? So miser and frugal. So what is the relationship? Or inquiry and challenge. So what is the relationship? Or let's say lawyer and courtroom. So what is the relationship? So you know the meaning of both the words, but what is the relationship? So on the basis of that relationship only, the answer is to be chosen, because answer pair should also have the same relationship, right? So this is again a vocabulary based question as well as a logic based question. So vocabulary will be a very important part of this, because if you don't know the meaning of the words, you may not be able to establish any relationship, right? At the same time, merely knowing the meaning of the word will not suffice. You also need to be in a position to establish the relationship, right? So both the skills will be applicable in this particular section of this particular topic. Assumption based question, 2 sentences will be given, and 1 sentence will be given and possible 2 assumptions. So 1 assumption, 2 assumption. Which of these assumption is applicable? You might have come across this set of question in bank and for clerical exam, in SSC exam as well. It also appears in Maharashtra CAT exam. For this, RS Agrawal is the credible resource. You can go through that. You can build your concept when there. You can do ample practice on internet, on different websites. But assumption is to be done very clearly, because assumption only makes the basis for your critical reasoning section, right? So if you are clear with your assumption, then this question won't be difficult for you, will not be difficult for you. Assumption questions will also be very doable because they are very easy to read. Unlike critical reasoning question where you have to read entire paragraph, you have to assimilate, absorb all the information, but in assumption question, 1 statement is given followed by 2 possible assumptions, right? So easy to read, easy to process, and possibly easy to find out the answer. Strong and weak argument. So another set of question in verbal logic. A statement is given followed by 2 statements. So the later 2 statements will be arguments. One of those arguments will be strong, or maybe both the statement can be strong argument. So that's how the structure goes. You might have seen this question in your mock papers that you must have been taking. So strong and weak argument, again, what makes an argument strong, what makes an argument weak. So those basic essentials are to be understood clearly, and same time, only practice is going to give you edge in this section, because despite having your concepts correct, if you do not put those concepts into practice, you are very likely to falter in your actual exam. So do enough practice of this section. Course of action. So it tests your ability to ascertain whether what decision is to be made in a specific situation, right? So the very basic question, elementary set of question which tests your decision making ability. So a problem scenario is there or a crisis is there, 2 options, which of the options is feasible in a given situation. So a crisis, 2 course of action, which of them is applicable? Either 2 of them or either 1 of them could be applicable, or possibly none of them or neither of them is applicable. So course of action will also be there in logic section. So they are infused with reasoning as well as English, right? So for these last 3 set of questions, you can do from RS Agrawal. That's a very credible resource for this book. You can do practice from previous papers, in previous papers of bank, actual papers of bank PO, clerical, SSC, these questions have appeared, and those are actual questions. So instead of those questions which are developed by different websites or different testing sources, you base your practice on the previous year paper question only. So they will give you crystal clarity about the concept as well as why an answer is chosen and why an option is incorrect. Now, very quickly in the last part of this session today, I will talk about those set of questions which are quintessentially SNAP questions, right? You will not find these questions in any other management exams, right? So SNAP has developed a kind of character, a flavor for its exam, and you won't find these set of questions anywhere else, right? So as I said, what you have to do is you have to develop an eye for detail. So what is it that is favorite to SNAP, right? What is it that SNAP has obsession about? So if you can find that pattern, if you can find that trail, you possibly will be able to nail the exam very well. So this is one of those questions which has been appearing in SNAP consistently. Okay? And you wouldn't find this set of question anywhere else. One of them is grammatical function. Identify the grammatical function of a specific word. This last year in 2019, there were 2 questions based on this. So there will be a word given, 4 sentences and 4 different part of speech that this word can be used. Whether the word is noun, is it serving as a verb, is it serving as an adverb, or is it serving as a preposition or conjunction, right? Match the column. So this has been the consistent structure of this exam. So this tests your ability of part of speech. One word being used as a different part of speech. So as we all know that English is really a fluid language. So one word is not fixed as one part of speech, right? So if I use a specific word, you will have to use its usage, because with the usage only, you will have clarity how that word should be used in a sentence. So here, still word has been given, 4 different parts of speech, 4 different sentences. You will have to match the column as per which part of speech this word plays or which this word function as in a sentence. So you see, a sentence says, still water runs deep. So still has been used before water here, right? So water is being defined by this word still. So any word which defines a noun, water is a noun here, right? I hope that's clear. So water is a noun here, water is being defined by still, so still becomes adjective, an adjective. It is serving as an adjective in the sentence. So if you have this much clarity, you go with the options and eliminate those options which are not having still as an adjective. It's very easy to identify adjective. Always start with adjective or noun, right? Because with adjective, you will always have a noun, in proximity with that adjective. So let's say A with second. So second A, with that you are left with only 2 options, B and C, right? Now here, he wanted some stills for the magazine. He wanted some stills for the magazine. So stills is pluralized, right? So which part of speech can be plural? Right? So if you have that understanding, you can come to your answer, because plural can only be made of a noun, right? So with second A, right? With 2A, he wanted some stills for the magazine, you can come to your answer as C, right? So you don't have to read all the sentences, you don't have to consume this much time to come to your answer. This is the character of SNAP. It doesn't pose much difficulty. The question seemingly appears very tough, very complicated, but it's not very difficult to find out your answer. This is going to be the structure of SNAP, especially in English section, right? So don't get dissuaded if a question appears to be very, very difficult. It may be a very deceptive question for you. Maybe it may appear to be difficult, but actually the answer is very easy to get. So here, with 2 sentences only, we got our answer. So this is, for this, 2 questions appeared in last year paper. Very likely since this year 15 questions only in English, so 1 question may be there. So be thorough with your part of speech, right? How noun can be identified, how adjective can be identified, and how an adverb is placed in the sentence and how it functions. So if you have this basic understanding of part of a speech, this is going to be a no-brainer for you. Hardcore grammatical concepts, right? So as I said, this is one of those exams which are going to test your ability on grammatical accuracy. Narration, direct or indirect speech, do not appear in most of the exams, right? But they have been appearing in SNAP. So there is a sentence which is to be made in indirect or direct speech, right? Or there is a sentence given, which of them is the correct indirect version of this sentence, right? So that's how the indirect and direct narration have been tested in exam. Last year in 2018, this question appeared, change the speech, I have won the race. So if you know the concept well, if you are through with the concept, it's going to be a cakewalk for you, right? So if I have won the race, it's a present perfect tense, I have won the race. So present perfect has to be turned into past perfect. If you know that basic concept, the option is going to be easy to choose. So change the speech. This is the sentence. It has to be chosen in indirect. He said that he had won the race, right? So present perfect has to be turned into past perfect. And with past perfect, you have only one option. Answer A. He said that he had won the race, right? So if you know the concept well, it's going to be a cakewalk for you. That's what I said. Thoroughly going through those concepts well, the basic essentials of grammar will go a long way in clearing this exam. Mark my words. Spotting the error, right? You wouldn't find spotting the error in most of the exams. I mean, directly grammar is not tested. But SNAP, spotting the error will be there. So I'm fully aware that my wife is one of those who is totally committed to the family and its well-being. You'd be very surprised to know that the same concept, subject-verb agreement, and the same rule of subject-verb agreement has been tested thrice. This was 2018. In earlier year as well, subject-verb agreement, the same principle of subject-verb agreement was tested 3 years, right? So 2018 and before that, 2 more years, the same concept of subject-verb agreement, same rule of subject-verb agreement. So this deals with the subject here. What is the subject? When I say I'm fully aware that my wife is one of those. So when I say I'm one of those, so who am I talking about? Am I talking about me or am I talking about those? So my subject changes from me to those, right? So when I say SNAP is one of those exams, right? When I say SNAP is one of those exams, what am I talking about here? SNAP or exams? What is my subject here? You may feel that SNAP is my subject, but no, SNAP is no longer my subject here. I have changed my subject from SNAP to those exams, right? Because the second sentence, which is coming after those exams, is going to take exams as a subject. So SNAP is one of those exams which give importance to grammar. So I have taken plural verb here, give, because I have taken those exams as my subject. The subject changes from SNAP to those exams. So those exams is plural, that is why I take plural verb give. SNAP is one of those exams which give importance to grammar, right? So here I am fully aware that my wife is one of those. So here those becomes my subject, those people. My wife is one of those who is totally committed will be incorrect. Instead of is, it will be who are totally committed. So I'm not talking about my wife anymore. I'm talking about all those people who are completely committed to their family and its well-being. And my wife is one of them. That's how this concept goes, subject-verb agreement. So basic principles of subject-verb agreement, but this only principle, this only rule has been tested thrice. I remember twice dealing with this kind of question in previous year discussion of SNAP papers. This year, when I was searching for 2018, I came across this question. So it got me into thinking that this particular principle of subject-verb agreement has caught attention of SNAP examiner. So be through with it. I hope I explained it to you. Nonetheless, you can always revisit the principle and do some more examples in order to bring more clarity. So you might have, you might be aware about CLAT exam, which often tests students' ability to know the meaning of foreign phrases, the French words, the Latin phrases, the Spanish words. So they do, give these questions to their students, and they try to ascertain whether they are aware about the meaning of these words or not. This has also been with SNAP. In a couple of years, it has given those phrases which are of foreign origin, right? So the words which did not originate in English but have gained currency in English. Some French words like faux pas. So here, 2018, the word "mi culpa" appeared, and what does it mean? So very straight away the question was given, the word was given and what it means. So "mi culpa," right? So if you go by the root of the word, even if you are completely unfamiliar with the phrase, but if you go by the root culpa and you try to devise some words which originate from this word, like culpable homicide, culprit, right? So culp comes for, it has negative connotation. It usually comes for criminality, right? So "mi culpa" means I am to be blamed. I am the culprit. It's my fault, right? So admission of mistake is what is expressed by this phrase. So "mi culpa" means admission of your guilt, admission of your mistake. So I am to be blamed. So answer here is D. So it might happen that a very alien foreign phrase comes to you and you feel unnerving because may have never come across that term, but don't lose hope there. Try to go with the root strategy. I hope all of you know what root strategy is to deal with words. You try to work around with the phrase, come up with an answer, and if you feel confident, mark that answer. So foreign phrases for this set of question, though it's not very frequent. In few years, SNAP has given questions on foreign phrases, but it makes all the sense to go through some words, especially French words, because they have gained a lot of currency in English. They are very frequently used in all the narratives and in all the mediums of discourse. So if you go through the frequently used French words, French phrases, and some Latin phrases, you may be sure that if this kind of word comes, you will be in a position to mark the answer, right? Okay, now this I would highly recommend to go through. You can skip foreign words, but you cannot skip figure of speech. Every now and then, ever since I have been keeping a track of SNAP since 2008, and I have seen figure of speech regularly appearing in English section. Right, so this is another part of English which SNAP has liking for. So figure of speech, simile, metaphor, personification, oxymoron, onomatopoeia, and what is paradox, what irony is. They haven't tested much on irony and paradox. They have been confined to very easier topics of figure of speech, simile and metaphor. Time and again, they have asked questions based on simile and metaphor, personification, right? So even if you go through the basic concepts of figure of speech, these literary devices which bring ornamentation to writing, and if you go through their basic definition and you see some examples and build your understanding of these figure of speech, you're good to go, right? So don't delve much into this topic, but basic 7-8 figure of speech which have appeared very frequently, as I said: oxymoron, personification, simile, metaphor, and a couple of more, right? But basic. And you do with enough examples. So in any basic textbook, advanced textbook, even in Brett and Remy Martin, you will find a chapter on figure of speech. You can do it on some websites like Purdue University has a very excellent, really very good website which is dedicated to writing devices, all the literary and writing devices. So you can go through that. and build your understanding of figure of speech. It has been regularly appearing, so it makes all the sense to go through this part and build your understanding on this. So here the question is, the repetition of message or the use of superfluous expression is called. So superfluous is something which is unnecessary, something which is not needed, right? So when I say he has been accused of a false misstatement. So false misstatement. So here the misstatement itself means I haven't given the true statement. Misstatement means I have possibly prevaricated the truth. So misstatement does not require false. So here false is not needed, hence it is superfluous, right? The sensix is descending down, right? So here down is superfluous. Descending means coming down. Descending does not require down to be added after it. So here descending does not require down. So these are superfluous words. So anything which is added extra but does not change the meaning, does not bring any value to the sentence is superfluous. So here the word that would be your answer is redundancy. Redundancy is extra, something which is extraneous, something which is inconsequential, something which is not needed, right? So here superfluous will be redundant. Hyperbole, yes, that's another figure of speech that you have to do. Hyperbole is exaggerated way of speaking in order to bring dramatic effect to your speech or to your writing. You say something in a very exaggerated and you stretch the truth a bit. So that's hyperbolic statement. Alliteration is the repetition of a letter. Right. All the tongue twisters are put in an alliteration way. Allegory is the symbolic, representation of something. So if you go through the definition and come up with some examples, and if you find out these examples and do some exercises based on figure of speech, you're good to go. But I would highly recommend you go through this part. And this has not been confined to SNAP only. Figure of speech question have also appeared in ZAD as well as in IAFT. Right? So this particular part or the particular concept will help you in clearing multiple exams, not SNAP only. Right. So confusing word, it has been ditched by CAT now. It was introduced first by CAT in 2005 or 6, I guess, and it appeared consistently in CAT. When CAT went online in 2009, it picked up this set of questions for testing vocabulary building, and eventually when CAT shifted from vocabulary to reasoning and paragraph understanding, it stopped testing your vocabulary altogether. But it has been taken up by SNAP and it has been consistently appearing in CAT. So those words which are similar sounding, which are confusing, maybe because of their spelling, maybe because they are homonyms, because of their paronyms, or because they are the origin is same. So because of some inherent link between these words create a lot of confusion, chaos about their usage. And these are the breeding ground for examiners, right? So confusables, a list of confusable, going through a list of confusable, whichever institute you are part of, whichever mock test series you have been taking, ask them to give you a list of confusables, right? And please try to compile a list of your confusing word as well. Why do you find it difficult to use disinterested and uninterested? If you're not very sure which sentence this word is going to be applicable to, then make a list of those words and be through with your meaning, practice them enough, and then be sure of their usage. So here, flown, the second form, third form, flow, flew, right? And flee and fled. Second form of flee is fled. So this is how they have used. In earlier years, they used rise and raise. In one of the years, lie and lay. So this is how they have taken these pair of words, which have been confusing for students as well as for a lot of speakers. So as I said, please go through the list of these confusables and do enough exercises. Okay, so here many Tamil speaking Sri Lankans. This is again 2018 question. Many Tamil speaking Sri Lankans dash from the island to escape the military and its atrocities. So वो भाग रहे हैं. The sense which this sentence is conveying is they were running away, because escape is the word which is giving you the clue, and because military and atrocity. So this is something which is highly unwanted, and that is why they were migrating from Sri Lanka. So the word here, flown. So that is going to be, that is not going to be used here. I hope you are clear that he flew from Dubai to see his parents, right? So that is how the word is used. But here, flee and fled. So since we are talking about past, hence fled from the island to escape the military and its atrocities. So here, C will be the correct option. This flee is present, the sentence is not in present. Here we are using the past form of flee, that is fled. So flee is कहीं से चले जाना, because you were forced to leave the place, right? So that is how flee will be used, and the second form, flee, fled, will be the correct for this option of the sentence, right? So first, confusing words, and then their application, their usage. If you are clear with them, this question again is going to be very easy for you. This question will also be very less time consuming. If you are very clear about the meaning of the word, you will be sure that this sentence requires this word, not this word. So if you are clear that flee is the word and you need second form of flee, not flew, not flown, marking answer will be very easy. Time and again, SNAP has also tested prepositions. The placement of preposition, right? And through filling the blank. 2, 3, filling the blank. It has also appeared in ZAG. So ZAG gives you a paragraph, leaves the place in that paragraph, and 4 and 5 preposition are to be filled. So you have to be certain about the placement of that preposition in that sentence or in that part of the sentence, right? So preposition, their application and their rule, both are to be applied here. So 4 sentences here with different preposition. You are not given fill in the blank here, but you are given sentence with different preposition. So if you are clear that with house, with street, with which preposition is used, you will be able to do this question, right? So preposition not only for SNAP, also for ZAP and for IFT as well. Now, this question has not appeared in any management exam I have trained for, right? So in India, whatever exams happen for management entrance or for management admission, I have actually trained for almost all the exams, but this question has not appeared in any of the exams, right? And I also have trained students for a couple of other exams like CLAT, like IPM, GRE and GLAT, but this set of questions has not been part and parcel of any of the exams. This is quintessentially SNAP question, right? Now, kangaroo bird. First time when it appeared, it was 2009 or 10, I guess, and it reappeared in a couple of other years. So kangaroo bird, like, what is the specialty of animal kangaroo? It has a pouch and it carries a small kangaroo in that pouch, unless the baby kangaroo is, mature enough or gains enough strength to work on its own. Right? It is preserved by that adult kangaroo, right? So that's a pouch. So kangaroo bird is that kind of bird which has one of its similar word in its own spelling in the same order, right? You may not have clarity about it, so I'll try to explain it again. Kangaroo words are those words which hide another word as a synonym, another word which is synonym in its own spelling and in similar order, right? So if the word is masculine here, so the masculine in the same order, if you see M-A-N, so man is inside the spelling of masculine, right? So here, masculine is a kangaroo word here. because another synonym of masculine is men. And so masculine is somebody who has manly quality or manly appearance, right? So here, man, M-A-N, is inside masculine and in the same order. It's not like N-A-N, it is M-A-N, right? So small word, similar word, or synonym inside a bigger word is kangaroo word, right? I'm sure you must have come across this term for the first time. So this is very specific SNAP question. So there were two questions in one of these years. Another is sleep, respite, walk, and talk. So among these four words, there is one word which hides behind it, which hides another word of similar kind, similar meaning in its spelling. Sleep, respite, walk, and talk. And I'll try to make it easier for you. The answer is B, respite. So respite, I have a sense of respite, right? So I can sigh relief. Here, respite is having R-E-S-T, relief and rest. So respite has rest as a primary word. So R-E-S-T, rest in that order only, is inside the spelling of respite, right? So that's how kangaroo word goes, and that's what the concept of kangaroo word is. And you can go through the list of kangaroo words. There are not plenty of these words. There will be around 15, 20, 20, 25 words. If you go through them, I guess that's going to be fair enough for you to devote your time to this specific part of verbal ability, right? So, to sum up the session for today, make sure you go through the vocabulary list, synonym, antonym, analogies, fill in the blank, kangaroo words, and odd one out. These are very frequently appeared questions in vocabulary. So go through your vocabulary and go through normal levels. Start reading that book. Start taking the test. Start building your vocabulary on that book. Skip those chapters which are not very relevant, as I told earlier. And yeah, this book is going to give you enough confidence to do well in this section. So you can rely on this book. Revise all the grammar rules. Take any classic textbook and conform to the rules which are explained in that book. Do enough exercises and make a list of those topics which have been tested frequently. Like I said, narration has been given frequently, subject and verb agreement, and tenses, and active voice and passive voice. These are four topics which have, and preposition. These have frequently appeared in SNAP. Make a list of these topics and get conceptual clarity, try to apply these topics, these concepts on exercises. Do as many exercises as possible to build your capacity to do these questions in the exam. Revise important confusing words and idioms. So idioms and confusing words. You will have to consciously make an attempt to revise the list, remember the meaning of these words, remember the distinction of confusing words, apply them in the sentences, and then remember them. And for that, you will have to revise them again and again. So idioms and confusing words will need conscious effort and then constant practice. Take mocks to fine-tune your pace with the pattern. Once you're done with CAT in November, if you happen to decide for this exam to be taken in December, 20 days you have, 25 days you have to take enough mocks, analyze those mocks, and fine-tune your strategy as per the new pattern of this exam. Now this is going to test your ability of time management, so you will have to change your pace a bit, right? You don't have to exhibit your knowledge anymore, you don't have to showcase that how much you know, you just have to exhibit your time management skill, that how well, how accurately these questions can be done in less time. So this building, this capacity is to be built in this time that you target for SNAP preparation, right? So thank you very much for being part of today's session. I hope I could help you, I could facilitate you with the pattern and structure of this exam, as well as I could afford you some insight about the preparation of verbalization and logic reasoning. Thank you very much. Hello everyone. Very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Neelam Malkani. I'm going to be your facilitator for CAT.